Okay, just getting set up, y'all. There we go. The Art of Positivity. You know, I just love Jane's books. She's just so very talented. So, how's your Christmas? The kids get you up early? Y'all that have already begun with your festivities? For anybody that had Christmas Eve, I hope this finds you all doing well. I wanted to go ahead and get a page out real quick here. I am going to be working with greens, and I am working with the Castle Art pencils. Now, do you remember how I taught how I make my swatches? It's been a few videos back. You can go catch that. But here in the very back, after the last color of the swatches, I made colors that I like together. This is also a good place to try things. Like that was super hard to blend, but it works. That I don't care for so much, but I left it in there because I tried it. Why not? So there's just, and if you want these color combinations, just go back and here, I'll do it backwards and you can pause after each one and write it down if you want. But anyway, as far as what these colors equal in other brands, I have the color conversion chart, but it does not include Castle Art. Now, because I make swatches, it makes it a whole lot easier to transfer them over. So, like, I sat down earlier and I said, okay, this cadmium green 62, what is it in other brands? And I pulled my chart out. Let me grab it because it's still sitting right here. So I pulled out my charts and I said, okay, let's take that and lay it down and see. So at that point, I took it and I went around here and I was like, okay, it's close to olive. It's close to moss. And I think that was the two it was closest to. So then I would pick one of those, which I did not do that color earlier, so I don't know. I would probably put it right there with the olive green, you know, because it's darker than this. It's a little bit darker than that. It's pretty close there. But that's what I do is I just take my swatch for every color and I go down through there and I say, okay, what's that close to? And there's more than one page of greens, I think. There's a few more here. That goes to blues and purples. But anyway, that's how you would go about taking care of doing that. One of these days, I'm going to sit down and do all of my Crayola pencils that way and all of my Castle Art pencils that way. So far, in these, I have my Marcos and then the Rembrandts, the Polychromos, and the Prismacolor. I do not own the Rembrandt, so I haven't been able to color those in. Anyway, I digress. Let's go back to this. What I want to show you is how, even if you have just a few, yeah, it is nighttime here, so I'm trying to get some light on this. Even if you have just a few greens, how you're going to be able to change it up and use those few. Now, before I start coloring, I want to show you, see how right here these leaves are divided and then marked. A lot of you are probably thinking, well, I have to color this the same as this because there's a leaf without a line in it. This has one line going through it, so it has to match this one. This one doesn't match any of them. This one doesn't match any of them. So now I'm stuck with how many different greens, and I don't have that many. If that is how you color, take your pen, come in, and make a leaf that matches one of the other leaves. Now, as you do this, it's easier if you come up and connect. If you start right here, sometimes you end up with an extra little bit. And there I did anyway. So come up that line and then do your top. I'm going to leave those two, actually those two, I'm going to do one line because that's what's over there. Don't do a straight line if you can help it. Try to give it some sort of a curve. Okay? Then I'm going to come in and I'm going to do the V's. I'm going to go from the inside out. Okay? If you do it from the outside in, that works also. I just prefer pulling from the inside out. But you can go like this. Do it all in one. Doesn't matter. Then your ink needs to totally dry before you color. But now do you see how this matches this? All right? So that's one thing I wanted to show you. If you get that far and you're still with me, let me talk about the stems real quick. This one is actually done with, and colors are not as big of a thing this time as some color combinations. What you can do is get your pencils out, lay them down, and start coloring. Color some swatches where they blend together. Say, okay, I know that works together. So from now on, I'm going to know that if I want 3 greens in this shade area, I can grab those 3 pencils. That will help you get through that block that you sometimes get. Plus, now I can put them in order because these barrels do not necessarily match the colors that they are. Okay, so we're looking at these 3 colors, which is what I'm using here. I use the darkest for the bottom or the ends of the stems. Then the next thing I'm going to do, and also I'm going to be careful not to put my hand in that because I don't want to smear it. I don't know how long that will take to dry. So what you might want to do, if you have a page that you know you need to do some touch-up on, do the touch-up before you go do the dishes or fix dinner or go to bed. Then when you come back, it should be dry. Okay? I say should be. You still want to do the test. Push down hard. See if it came off. It did not. So mine may already be dry. All right, so the darkest, then either the medium or the light, and go into that dark. That is going to allow you to get 2 different colors on the stem. See where it's darker here, lighter in the middle. I did the same thing here, except on this one, I did the light only right here in that center section because I wanted this to be dark, then it overlaps, and I wanted dark again. So when you're doing stems, pull 2 colors from what you're using. Use the darker on the outside and the lighter on the inside, whether it's the medium shade or the lightest shade. And you may only be using 2 shades. That's okay too. So I've already used my mint green. So like a seafoam green, something like that. Then I'm coming in with my medium shade, and I'm going to come across. You saw I went back, I was up here and I went back some. That's not so much for lighter this time as it is trying to get my hand out of your view. Just trying to get out of the way so that you can see what's going on. It also means it's going to take me a little longer to color it because I can't push as hard. But that's not a bad thing either. I am heavy-handed, so going further back on the pencil makes me go a little bit lighter. Going a little bit lighter will a lot of times help you get a better blend. All right, then I'm going to go to my darkest shade. That was Phthalo Turquoise. Now I'm going to Phthalo Green Light. And I am going to scrunch up on my pencil because now I do want to get in there good and just deepen that. Okay? And I'm not coming out near as far as I did on that last color. The first color, you'll notice here, I go about 2/3. Second color is going to be about 1/3, and then that last color is about 1/3, because that first color is where you get your largest overlap. Now, see, then I could come over here. We're going to see if it's dry. So see up here on the tip, if this wasn't dry, I would have just streaked black all through that. So see, I do about 2/3. Then about 1/3. And then that very bottom area, which probably is only about 1/4 now that I'm really looking at that. These leaves are also smaller, okay? But that shows you. Now these are across from each other. I wouldn't probably do, like when you're spacing, and we haven't talked about that much. When you're spacing things around the page, like these two are the same, these two are the same, but then these are across from each other, kind of helps your eye to go around. If I'd match these two, then these two, and these two, it would have just been a little more boring in my eye. Okay, so I've gone to Leaf Green Light, and I did over here. All right, so Leaf Green Light did all the tips of everything, okay? Then my next color coming in is Cadmium Green Pale, and then Cadmium Green. This is a lot like some of our olive colors, but they're in the lighter realm of the olive. Okay, so that first set was more of seafoam and things like that. This set is more olivey. Olivey, is that a word? Sure it is. So that's what my second set is. All right, so I've already done the light shade. Now I'm going to go to the middle, Cadmium Green Pale, and I'm going to come in, and because this leaf is so small, I'm only doing 2 shades. That's all I'm going to get in here is the 2 colors. Okay, just get your color down in there, take your time. I didn't feel like you needed to watch me base coat and color everything. But if you are coloring along, You can pause it whenever need be. Now, oops, this one too. As I'm coming down the page, those other leaves, these are quite a bit longer. So as I come up through here, it allows me to bring that green just a little further up. And then that's where my third green comes in. Cadmium green. The last one was cadmium green pale. This one's cadmium green. So these are like olive shades. Think of your army greens and stuff like that. Okay? Now, next, let's go ahead and these same pencils I took down here and I did all the little tips. Then I'm going to come back in with my lightest shade, or my medium shade again, and just put those little corner bits in, the little V's that are close to the stem. While I'm down there, I see this. I'm actually going to use gel pens for that. I have some gel pens with glitter, and a lot of you know that's my favorite thing to do is glitter gel pens. So I'm going to be dragging those out later sometime and using those. Now next I have leaf green, castle green light, and castle green deep. Okay, so again, look at the color of that. That's not the color it's going to actually come out. So I went ahead and did the lightest shade, leaf green, and you can see that does not match. So this time I'm in more of our grassy greens. Okay? So just when you're trying to match up with another brand, think, okay, in this brand, what do I have that looks more like a grass green instead of a seafoam green or an olivey green? Maybe that will help you to be able to pick some of your own colors. All right, so I'm just coloring here and blending in. There's not a big, huge difference in my first and second color, so it makes it really easy to blend. There's just enough difference in there that it does make it a smidge darker. Okay. Deepen this up just a little bit. All right, then my darkest shade is that Castle Green Deep. And this is where you're going to get into your deeper greens that are in your box of, or your container of pencils. Just something that's, you don't want something that's got a lot of seafoamy in it. You don't want to go the army color. You still want to keep with your bright colors. Like maybe even a, let me think of what a good color would be. I'm thinking like a blue-green or maybe a forest green. Yeah, just something that's going to lend a little bit different shade to it. So that's how you're going to be picking your colors though. Now I know this is dry, so I'm going to come on back up and do that. Let me stand up real quick. 19 minutes, good, good, good. All right. And I am going to come back and do all the lettering on here on camera for you, because we're going to be doing some blending of the colors and anchoring those letters to where they don't look like they're just about to float away. Okay. I know what I mean by that is a lot of people will do the lettering all one shade, which is fine, but then it almost looks like it's floating on the page. And if you will take, when you're coloring your lettering, and do the bottom half or bottom third, and it really looks better, I think, if you're doing half to third. I wouldn't go 2/3 on it. It kind of anchors. It anchors that word to where it doesn't look like it's just floating around on the page. Okay, so that was my lightest. That was the mint green. Then my next shade is the Phthalo Turquoise. I'm going to do some overlap. See, you can do pretty hard layer right here, pretty solid, but then remember a lighter touch as you go up into the other color. And a lot of your pencils will just blend on their own. You won't have that hard problem of blending. You know, I did almost, 2 or 3 months of videos where I used nothing but Crayola pencils just to get myself back in the habit of blending them. And after you've worked with Crayola for a while and you go over to a different pencil, then those other pencils will seem like they blend a lot easier. It just depends on the amount of wax that's in them or the amount of oils. Okay, so then this one is Phthalo Green Light. And I'm just going down in these V's, getting that deepest color. And there's not a lot of space right there, so just do a bit. The smaller the leaf, the less room you're going to have for 3 colors in there. And a lot of people just do 2. I might have done just 2 if this weren't a video, but because I know a lot of my viewers have a hard time blending, I want to show you how if you use 3 and put your colors closer to the same, it is easier to go ahead and get through that. So anyway, all right, we will work on this again next time. I'm going to use gel pens, glitter gel pens for my leaves, probably for my flowers, and maybe even for the border. So be back in a few days. Don't eat too many sweets. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas. Bye.